All right, so this is my review of Animester's 1/9 scale Thunderbolt Squad Vodka Mirror, and that's her name, Vodka Mirror. So she's from the same line as Barbara Red, which I reviewed previously, and she does use a silicone type body. I'm not sure what the material is. It's some type of TPE or silicone. And if you saw a previous review for Barbara Red, and I have her here also. Yeah, these bodies, from my experience, they tend to hold up pretty well, so long as you take care of them. And that just means, a good silicone spray, and you should be okay. Like, I haven't had any tears on these figures or on Barbara. And I have Sunflower Girl also, different line, but I haven't had issues with these figures, surprisingly. That's interesting. But let's talk about Vodka Mirror. So she is a 1/9 scale figure, so if you care about scale, she is going to be a bit on the tall side. But for me, that doesn't matter, and she's so unique, I figure it's perfectly fine. I don't mind the fact that she's a little bit taller. So let's go straight into the review. Let's start with just the overall look of her. And actually, let me just swap this faceplate just so you can actually get a look at just a more kind of normal face, what she came with on. I was just fooling around with the accessories. All right, so this is more in line with, what she comes with. Yeah, so in terms of just her overall look, nothing really surprising here. I think Animester just kind of nails it. Very, very detailed figure. And, just the face, the design on her eyes, the sharp eyebrows, everything. Very crisp. You can already see the kind of colors on her armor and things like that. The rainbow coloration there is just gorgeous. Like, absolutely stunning. Kind of like that carbon fiber work on her arm guard. Lots of varied colors here. And again, that kind of transition from that like purple to blue is just stunning. Little accents of gold. And I'm pretty sure she has die cast in her. Like, that feels cold. So that's definitely die cast. Very, very, very appealing figure, I'd say. Stunning work here. You can mount this jetpack on her back or lower, but again, yeah, looks great. And I just have it on her because, I was just fooling around with this figure a bit, but looks good all around. Like, I don't see any sloppiness here. Very clean work, and easy 5 out of 5, I'd say. No surprise. Yeah, Animester makes very nice looking figures. Okay, so let's just take a quick measurement on her. I'll tell you how much she weighs, how tall she is, and let's actually just start with her height. So she is 1/9 scale, so she is going to be a bit on the taller side. Probably like around 8 inches. Yeah, 1/9 is 8 inches. And she's exactly 8 inches at eye level. So you know what you're going to get with the 1/9 scale, 8 inches. She's heavy, but let's just get a measurement on her because I know people care about the weight. All right, 3.92 ounces. So she has heft. She doesn't feel cheap at all. So that's good. All right, and let's get into just articulation. And yeah, again, so she gets a 5 out of 5 just in terms of appeal. Like, excellent looking figure, no complaints. So let's talk about her articulation. Head is just on a barbell joint, so you get excellent range there. Double ball joints is the way to go for heads. That just works phenomenally. Well, I wouldn't say this is a barbell joint. I think it's just a really good ball joint up there. Yeah, it's a very kind of large ball joint up there, so it works well. Okay, now, again, talking about articulation on a silicone figure is a bit tricky, but I'll kind of go through it anyway. So arms do come up. It feels like there's some kind of swivel in there. You do get a bicep swivel here. Okay, so you get that. Pretty good double bend at the elbow, so no complaints. And, really, this honestly just looks like a really... No, yeah, it's a double bend. Yep, good. Okay, so you get a double bend there. You just get a traditional ball swivel at the wrist. Okay. Now, I will say the wrists were a bit annoying on mine. And if you know me, I don't like heating my figures, so I usually just go in with a file. I had to go in a little bit with the file for this one, so that was a little annoying. I will say this, though, her arms are much better than Barbara Red's in terms of just fluidity, like no tightness in the arms this time. So that's good. Coming down, I think her diaphragm is just on a ball joint. You can't really see it, but I am going to push this figure a bit for this review. Okay. And, you know, I really don't like doing that with silicone figures, but she does come down that much. Okay. So, and, you know, if she craps out, that's just a sign, like, you know, maybe reconsider Animester. So for me, a figure should be able to handle basic stuff like this. And she does. So no complaints. Goes back that much. Probably don't want to force it any more than that. Again, it's on a ball joint. Be careful. It's obviously not a plastic figure. So I'm just going to take these doohickeys off. In a second. Just getting in the way. Be careful that you don't stick yourself with these. There's some sharp parts on these. Yeah, and so you do get a little bit of a twist there. I highly suggest you don't push it. It looks like she can handle it. Probably don't want to do that with a silicone figure too much. But it is there. There's definitely a ball joint up there. And you do get a lower ball joint too. I could feel it in there. So you get that full range of movement in kind of like that crotch section also. Okay. Legs. Again, when you get this figure, and it was the same for Barbara Red, it's going to be a little bit of a, it's going to be a bit intimidating breaking her in. I will say she's not as fragile as you think. Silicone figures, people tend to kind of freak out. She could probably handle it. So I said this for the Barbara review also, don't be afraid to just work her in and just kind of get the articulation out. She's going to be a bit stiff out of the box, but mine definitely limbered up. Let's just show you how far you could push her. Her arms do go up higher, actually, so take a look. Again, I don't want to do that with mine. I'm just doing it for the review. I know there's some crazy people out there who might. I'm only joking, but, you know, she can do it. It's up to you whether or not you're going to do that regularly. Okay, now, this always makes me get nervous, but she can do a full split. And honestly, I don't feel tension. Like, I don't feel like tension around here. Okay, so, continuing. Yeah, so her leg does go up perfect 90 degrees like that. And not so good backwards, actually. I probably don't want to push it back like that. I don't think I can. Yeah, so probably don't want to do that. And just a little advice, if you're nervous about these figures, I'd say they really tend to comply when you hold them by kind of like the trunk. Then you could really feel like the base of all the joints, like where they all meet up, and you could straighten her out. I know someone asked me about, like, how do you line her legs up? I grab her right here, and then you could kind of really feel where the legs should be. And also, some people say like the lower leg, and they just kind of don't line up. I usually just do this, like just kind of pump up and down like this until you get it right. So just a little advice, because yeah, these are very strange articulating them. If you've never held a silicone figure, very easy to just get something misaligned. So just a little advice there. Okay, continuing. Thigh swivels are great. They work. Excellent design on the legs. Like, I just can't get over that. Double bend at the knee. She kicks almost up to her butt. Not quite. Now, I don't like her ankles. This is kind of like a negative for me. I just hate the high heels. It just seems like no one does them right. Again, I had to file these down. Like that kind of like the ankle rocker, if you could even call it that, was essentially non-functional because of how tight it was. And again, I just don't condone that whole running a figure under the sink every time you want to move for something or pop something on and off. So I did file it down a bit, and it seems better now. Just the high heels, I hate them. I prefer just flat kind of shoes. Even just from an appeal standpoint, I really don't care about high heels. I don't know about you, but it doesn't do anything for me. Like, I'd be fine with her just having regular feet for the sake of articulation. That being said, she stands perfectly fine. Very well balanced figure, very, very nicely done. Okay, now, her articulation is decent for, you know, a silicone body figure. Like, she could do the stances and stuff like that. And in terms of just overall build quality, she's fine. But when I have to go in and just kind of like file the wrists, and the wrists were very, very tight to the point where it felt like it could possibly break, like just switching hands out and things like that. Again, I always heat the wrists and stuff just to like get them kind of loosened up. I tried that with her. Still no good. So after fooling around with her for a bit, I decided, yeah, heat her wrists up. It's still extremely tight. So I just kind of filed it down with one of these. And if anyone's wondering what I use to file my figures down, just a little jeweler's file. They're cheap. They usually come in sets, so you can get those on Amazon. Now she's great. So again, the heels are just annoying, but other than that, for articulation, I'd give her 3.5, just because she does still have that kind of stiffness, even after just limbering her up and things, just more in the silicone parts. So that is something to be, aware of. Might be intimidating if you never held a silicone figure before. So 3.5, I think her articulation is decent. Could be better, especially, watch the tolerances on the wrists and ankles. Those are the most fragile parts of a figure. She doesn't feel cheap or tacky or anything like that. Like she doesn't feel like she's going to snap. But again, those are pressure points, and that's usually where people break something, and then that's just a whole headache. Okay, so 3.5 for articulation, overall build quality. No, you know what? I think that's a little too low. I'm going to change that, because these figures, the silicone just impresses the hell out of me. The fact that they could handle so much abuse, me putting them in full splits and things, so I'm going to raise that to a 4. Just overall 4, I think, is very solid. Okay, so let's talk about accessories. I'm just going to set her down for a second. I'll show you where everything plugs in a minute. But this is the jetpack she comes with. So that's kind of like her big gimmick, right? So she has this kind of jetpack. And you saw it on her in the beginning of this video. So essentially, you could mount it wherever you want. You can put it on her upper back, or you can put it a bit lower. Completely up to you. And if you notice, I have kind of these guns holstered in here. That's a very cool touch. So yeah, these guns can come out. And very cool how they implemented that. So very seamless kind of holstering there. That's very cool. And if you noticed, I also have another pair of guns, these kind of like handguns she comes with, pegged into her feet. So that's another very creative touch on their part. Very cool. So that's very cool also, just the fact that you could keep them in there like that. So yeah, these are articulated. Like, they can come up, they could swivel, all that good stuff. It doesn't get in the way. These kind of outer pieces, they don't come attached. I just attach them right now. Very nice ball joint. No horrible ball swivel crap. Now, I will say, yeah, there are kind of little Easter eggs on these. Like, you could open these up. So that's very cool. Like, these kind of open up, like these kind of like vents and stuff. That's a very nice touch. So you can get creative with the poses and all that stuff if you want. It scared the shit out of me that I broke something. Okay. All right. Yeah. So now also, let me just take this off for a second, because I can actually show you these pieces open up also. Very thoughtful stuff. Like, they even leave little indents in here so you could kind of get your nail in there and kind of lift up. Very just thoughtful design throughout. And I know this piece comes up too. I could get it to work right now. Yeah, so again, it does come out. You see that right there? It does push out a little bit. Okay, and then these pieces come out also. So very cool stuff here. You could just kind of make it look like she's, flying or whatever you want to do there. So that's really cool. And yeah, so I like this kind of pegged up higher on her back. Makes it look like a jetpack or something. But you could have it on her hips also, if that's something you want to do. Yeah, and it just plugs straight into her back. Now, be careful. Kind of like on her right here, there'd be like a little plate that you plug in if you don't want to have it pegged in there. And I'll just show you what that looks like. Just don't lose that. Comes with small accessories. Definitely don't want to lose anything. Yeah, so I like having it on her back like this. I think it looks cooler. Let me just put this thing back on. All right, so just get her standing upright. Okay, so continuing with the accessories, let's just kind of walk through some of them. So I will mention she comes with a very nice stand, and it even comes with kind of like storage to hold like different pieces and stuff like that. The stand itself comes with, and I'll just show you here. Comes with a little screwdriver So this could actually be used to tighten just the screws on the stand itself. And it's also to kind of do that new thing with figures these days, like rotating the eyes at weird angles and stuff. This piece is just to push in and out the alternate head attachment. So it comes with another piece. You could just kind of push it out like this and swap out this kind of claw for a peg if you feel like it. But yeah, that's just for anyone wondering. Very nice. It's just stores safely inside there. And if you want to keep her accessories, like the smaller ones, inside here somewhere, you definitely can. I know I'm going to be using this stand for my other figures also. So very cool stand. Okay, so that's her stand. You already saw, let's just kind of run through the accessories. These kind of shoulder pieces here, like these little blades, look very cool, I think. Both the same, so I'll show you one close up. Again, very nice details, like the decals really stick out on the Animesters. I'm sure, you know, that takes a lot of effort, just kind of putting those all together. Just decals everywhere. Gives it a very cool sci-fi look. Okay, let's continue. Let's talk about her face plates next. So you saw one of them on already, kind of like that battle mask. She does have that neutral one that she kind of has on right now. Okay, so that's pretty nice. And let's go through the others. All right, so she comes with kind of that worried look. Again, just very, very organic look. Like, they all look great. This one's very cool. That's kind of like her battle mask or whatever it is. It's very nice. And you also get this kind of obligatory whining kind of, I don't know what you call that face, but you get that also. Okay. All right. She does come with, I'm not sure why she comes with an alternate set of bangs, but you do get that. Yeah. All right. So you get that. Now, what I thought was cool is she comes with a pair of green ears also. She has blue colored ones on right now, but not sure why they gave a green set. I'm not complaining, but probably doesn't fit the rest of her blue scheme in my opinion. So still looks cool, but you do get those also. Okay, and by the way, don't lose this piece. Just a warning, if you buy this figure, this is probably one of the easier ones to lose. Kind of this like crotch attachment. Actually, let me just put this in right now since I'm not using her. Well, I'm not using the lower attachment for her jetpack. So actually, let me just get this off first. Looks cool too. There it is. So you just plug it in there if you're not going to use it. And let's just leave her jetpack off for now. So the accessories really just stand out. I'm not a big fan of accessories in general. Not like I'm not a fan. Like, you know, I'll take it, but I just tend to not really care. I really just care more about the base figure. But if I get the accessories, I'm not complaining. But I'm one of those kind of simpletons. Just give me 2 or 3 cool accessories, and I'm good. But if you want to give me more, I'm perfectly okay with that. Okay. And let me just show you 2 handles that she comes with here. So just if you open her up and you're confused with what these are, these double as handles for the guns that she comes with. So not the handguns, but let me actually just show you how this kind of works. These kind of side attachments here, so they actually double as handguns too, or actually rifles. Just pull out this little black piece here. So just pull this piece out here. So this little kind of slot in there. Yeah, and then you just put it inside like this. This might be the wrong handle. Yeah, use this one. So she would hold this one in her left hand. Just like that. Just loop around like that. So cool rifle there. And again, it opens up and stuff, so that's very cool. Might want to heat it a little bit. These are a little stiff to open. But they do open. Yeah, and then that just, it's almost like that kind of Halo plasma rifle that those elites use. So that's very cool. All right, so let's continue. And now the most boring part of the review for me, let's just talk about our alternate hands. So She has 2 open hands, which she has on her right now, just kind of neutral hands. She has 4 pairs of hands in total. Again, it was kind of annoying how stiff these hands were. Again, I hate these ball swivels. I prefer just the straight pegs. Just a straight peg with a kind of just a swivel, ordinary swivel on it. So much simpler and easier to use. And I like them more in general. Yeah, so those are open hands. And let me just quickly run through the others that she comes with. She does come with kind of weeb fingers. Comes with just a kind of generic gun holding hand. Get the camera to focus. Yeah, she comes with those. Comes with fists. You do get fists with her. More weeb fingers. You do get trigger hands, so 2 pairs of those, right and left. And that's pretty much it. So in terms of accessories, she's going to get a 4.4. And the reason for that is because the accessories are great, very creative, very cool. Just some very annoying kind of minor stuff, like we already talked about the hands, how hard it was to kind of get them inside. Opening these is more of a hassle than it should be. Again, I think like, yeah, if your ideas are cool and everything, but it should be seamless implement them. Like you can't just tug them open. You have to pull at like a weird angle. So absolutely hate that. So I prefer figures to be seamless, not like a chore. Like, see, I'm tugging at it. It's not opening. They open at very touchy angles. And if you don't get it right, it's not going to open. And what that means is if you really torque on it, it's going to break. So be careful with those. But when they do open, they look great. Like this one's just not cooperating at all. Really had to tug on that. That's annoying. Yeah. But it's cool when you get it to work. Okay. So yeah, I'd say 4.4. I think that's completely fair. Moving on to overall value. So I still like this figure a lot. She definitely feels more finicky than Barbara. Just her hands are just a pain to deal with. In general, I think Barbara was just an overall more satisfying buy for me. And yeah, but some things she improved on, like the arms are less kind of ratcheted tight like it was for Barbara's left arm here. But I like Barbara overall more as a figure. You see, good old-fashioned straight peg on Barbara. Vodka had a very aggressive jimping here. And that's what pisses me off. Like, why are you doing that? If you had it right on the first figure, why would you go back and screw it up? This is you could see that little line there. So that little line on Vodka was extremely pronounced, which is what made it very hard to switch her hands out. On Barbara, I didn't have that issue. Just good old-fashioned straight peg like Mafex works absolutely perfectly. You see that? How easy it is to just switch your hands out. I didn't grind anything down on this. Vodka, I had to. Again, Barbara is probably the better figure, in my opinion. And she looks cooler too. I like her look more, but that's just completely subjective. They both look great. Yeah, so in terms of value, I got her for $90 on Bomb Busby. I did check, the price did go up though, since as of me making this video. So be aware of that. And just be aware of possible QC issues. So far, I don't think it's anything major, but again, be aware, because don't walk into this and then, end up breaking something. So be careful, go slow with her. She does feel solid though, so that's good. So for overall value, I'd say 4.5. She has QC issues that Barbara didn't have, so that's concerning. What I also notice is I'm pretty sure Barbara came with replacement accessories, like alternate wrists, things like that. If I'm not mistaken, let me just double check. Yes, so she came with alternate wrist replacements. Vodka comes with nothing. That's a little weird. Like they're cutting corners a little bit. Very appreciative on Barbara, including spare wrist parts. Vodka came with nothing that I see here. So that's the negative for me. So in terms of, that's just something to be aware of. I'm lucky I have the replacements from Barbara, but be aware of that. Okay, so that brings her overall rating to 4.44. Still a solid figure. I am being a little stringent or a little strict in their rating just because, yeah, I like this company. They make very solid figures. I'm surprised at how durable they are. So overall rating of 4.44. I got her on Bomb Busby. Seems like a good site. This is my first buy from them. I'm starting to stray away from Gundam. I'll explain in my next review. But yeah, if you're interested in where I got her from, that's where I got her from. Okay, so if you have any questions, anything, definitely let me know. And thanks for watching.